If you feel intimidated about painting designs, we have the project for you. Painting citrus fruit slices is as easy as it gets. Believe me, if I can do it, so can you. Hi there, I'm Jane from Sustain My Craft Habit, and welcome back to Thrifted Thursday. This week we're upcycling this Value Village wood platter that we found for $2.99 and giving it a little makeover for the summer. In my mind, I had this vision for a bright and colorful piece, which is definitely not a palette that I usually go for, but just felt appropriate. I thought I would serve some lemonade and juices over the summer in this citrus-inspired platter. So I started by painting the surface of the platter with a turquoise color paint. This is chalky paint. I mixed up a little bit of a turquoise paint or teal paint with some green and then lightened it up with a little bit of cream. And then painted the entire base of the tray with that color. And I used a finer brush just to get into those edges. And I actually left the rest of the tray, the sides and the handles, the natural wood tone. So I didn't do anything to them, as you'll see later. I did, though, wrap the handles with some dyed rope. So once the base was dry, I used different sized containers to create circles. I used 2 containers which provided 4 different sizes of circle. The largest ones that I painted first were meant to be for the grapefruit, pink grapefruit. And once I traced the outside of the container, I then filled in the circle with the white paint. This is a white acrylic paint because it's the one that I had. Don't be afraid to use different types of paints in a project. You do have to test a little bit, and over time you'll get a sense for what will adhere to each other. But chalky paint makes a great base coat as it adheres to almost anything, and then acrylic paints go really well on top. I continued this process of making these circles. The largest ones were grapefruit, then the second largest for oranges, the third largest for lemons, and then the smallest for limes. I overlapped some of the circles so that the slices would be overlapping each other. Next, it was time to start adding color. So I went back and used my containers to create the outer rind of first the pink grapefruit. So you can see here I did a pretty thick layer of pink paint, and then I realized that I actually wanted the other slices to overlap. So I covered it up with a bit of white paint, which I guess is another tip, but you don't have to worry about making a mistake. You can always let the paint dry and then paint over it if you need to touch it up, which I ended up doing at various times through this project. So you can see to make the slices, you just start with lines to evenly space what will then become these wedges of your citrus fruit. I started with quarters and then divided those into additional quarters, I guess, or halves to make all the different wedges. At this point, I decided to take a break from the citrus slices and make a garland to coordinate with my platter when it was done. So I simply took these wood beads. I think they're about 18 millimeter wide. I got them off of Amazon, so I'll put the link below. And then diluted down each of the same colors of paint that I used on the tray. So the orange, pink, green, and yellow. And then dipped about 5 or 6 of each of the wood beads into those different colors of dye. I dried them a bit and then strung them all together, kind of randomly arranging the colors, added in a few undyed beads, and it turned into this really beautiful wood bead garland that almost looks like beaded candies. And look how lovely that looks there, coordinating with that platter. Okay, now it was time to get back to my slices. And I just basically continued again with those different sizes of circles in my head, thinking about where the different colors would be placed, which ones would overlap with the others, and then continued. This took a little while, but it was really relaxing and satisfying to do. I'm not even sure which color was my favorite to paint. I think maybe the pink because it was so vibrant. The whole time I was painting those slices, I was trying to think about what to do with the handles, and then this idea came to me of dyeing the twine that I had, this rope, I think from the dollar store, with the same teal paint as I used for the base coat. And same, I just watered down I guess this was the chalky paint, and then dipped the rope in there, dried it pretty thoroughly, and then wrap that around each of those handles on the wood platter. And this turned out really cool. I think it just added a nice contrast and texture to the wood, but it coordinated also with the rest of the platter. Okay, now the final touch to this project was adding on this gloss coat to seal in the surface, protect it, but really also to give it that nice glossy, shiny finish that I thought would be appropriate for citrus slices. And there we go. That's how I turned this plain wooden tray into a beautiful summer-inspired one that will be really fun to serve those juices and beverages over the coming months. I hope you saw how easy it is to paint these citrus slices and that you'll give it a try even on a smaller scale for some of your crafting projects. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more simple crafts and upcycling ideas. Happy crafting!